I did want to ask you real quick. We don't have to touch on it too much because I know there was some personal stuff and I didn't want to get into that necessarily, even though he talked about it. But yeah, Hexologist yesterday just with some tweets, uncharacteristically like, man, it sure is tempting to go shill some other, like crap crypto or something like this some days or whatever. And, you could tell he was just down in the dumps. He had a stream a little bit later. And turns out, long story short, that the guy, I think of all the things going on with him, the thing he was stressing about the most that day is that he is getting subpoenaed by the SEC. This is from his mouth. I'm not making it up. He's still getting subpoenaed by the SEC, him and his wife, who, as far as I've ever known, is not a visible figure within, the Hex or Pulse Chain community, really.
Not anymore.
Yeah. So it's just fucked up that this stuff is still going on. He can't know this for sure, but something that he said, just speculating, it's not basically the subpoena that they're getting. It sounds they're asking all the same questions that they already were. Yeah. And it would be normal SEC style. He was speculating that they've gotten it floated to them that this isn't looking good for them. Not necessarily that the case is going to be dismissed, but that part of it may be, and then they don't stand a snowball's chance in hell to really win anything if it goes forward, which is really how we've been calling it the entire time. But he thinks they're just circling the wagon again, trying to get more out of them and stuff. But in the meantime, you think about being in Hexo or any guy's position who has ever gotten subpoenaed about anything that they didn't really have much to do with other than investing in. It's like your family is being bothered. He is consulting an attorney that he's paying for, I'm sure, to deal with this shit. And then like your wife also gets it. I think he has 2 little kids?
3.
3. So it sucks. And I know he has other stuff going on that he was talking about, but I mean, like that part really does suck. I've gotten court papers I didn't want to get in the mail before. It is not a pleasant feeling at all. It's jarring. It ruins your freaking day. But
well, not only that, it ruins your week. But he said the last time he got some papers was before Thanksgiving. Now, like a week before Thanksgiving, the last time. Now this time it's a week before Christmas. So, I don't know if did you watch his show when he was talking about it?
About the first half, yeah, until he got through that,
yeah. One of the things he brought up too was they sent it in his dad's name, which was kind of messed up, to his address. I'm surprised he divulged that, and maybe we shouldn't either. But anyway, his lawyers are working on it. But it makes me wonder because there were a bunch of others. I think Johnny Chaos had gotten whatever, Maddie. There were several others. I know RG did, and I know there were a bunch at the last cycle. So I'm just wondering if all of them got them again this round. There were some lawyers that had said something that they're just on a fishing expedition is really all it is. It's been obvious all this time that no one's been paid. I think it just it confuses them to see how people can be passionate enough about something to just talk about what they like and not be paid for it, because there are so many other crypto influencers out there that get paid to talk about stuff all the time. And I think they just think it's standard suit for everybody to be that way. And especially since, there is a case happening, they're trying to find something that just isn't there. So, they can keep looking. Unfortunately, it is costing people money and lawyer fees and things like that. And the stress, like you said, it's right before Christmas. So he doesn't want to have to worry about that shit. But I don't know, since when did we lose the freedom of speech? Unfortunately, we can't get on here and just talk about things. I'm sure there'll be a day, well, maybe, that they either put this stuff to bed or they start coming after other streamers too. And, it is what it is. It's kind of what we signed up for when we got into this, knowing that there's a possibility. We don't have the follower count that Hexo has, but there is that risk. So,
yeah, and I think it's a little bit. Maybe we're being a little bit naive, thinking that it's only what you just said coming from the SEC. Like, well, these guys are out here talking about it; they got to be getting paid. I mean, maybe that's some of the sentiment, but it's also, like we've always talked about, purely and utterly just a shakedown of RH to try to get money. because they're not out there actually creating things in the world. Hexo brought this up too. I think they have to do something to justify their job.
Right.
Like you got to do something. So they just keep throwing these lawsuits at people. I mean, thank Christ that we know that Gensler's out of here in a month. Paul Atkins is going to be in there. I mean, I don't really want there to be, an SEC regardless. I mean, I guess you can't have people running rampant. There's going to be some kind of regulation on some stuff, which is all the crypto's ever really asked for. It's like, well, if you're going to regulate it, can you regulate it, not abuse your power and just try to hurt people,
Yep.
So thankfully, Gensler's gone. Paul Atkins will be in a month. Trump's taken over. That's all good. But it still remains to be seen how much better it'll be. And we're still dealing with this case in this ecosystem. I mean, not that I honestly don't think it has much of an effect on what the price is. We've had this discussion like ad nauseum. I do think we're going to get a very positive, a positive result from the case. It just sucks that Hexo is going through this and his whole, family is affected by it. It's just really shitty,
Yeah, and maybe Johnny, since he's in the chat, if he wants to divulge if he knows of others that got subpoenaed as well or not. Doesn't matter.
Trevon last time around? Didn't Trevon get subpoenaed?
Trevon got subpoenaed some time ago. He might have been on the first round as he was one of the early. He was, obviously in Hex very early.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, one of the ones where he ignored it. He didn't realize it was a mandatory thing. And they kind of knocked on his door and said, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
So I think that was completely different. But along the same lines anyway.
Yeah. Well, thinking about Hexo, hope things turn out good for him. I think he'll be fine. It's just a rough, shitty period to get through, but there will be brighter days ahead. And I saw him out there on Twitter already, ratioing Uniswap and doing the things that he does again today. Johnny says, yes, but not me. They know I will counter sue the fuck out of them. So there you go. He believes other people have gotten subpoenaed, but not him. Yeah. So
it sucks. It sucks that they've got nothing better to do, but
yeah.
Either way.
Well, Gensler won't have anything to do here soon, so that'll be good.
Hopefully,
yeah.
He'll get a job with his bank buddies over at Chase or something like that.
Yes, very quickly. It's probably already lined up.